Greetings, everyone. Welcome to FindLaws Don't Judge Me, the show about the law in real life. I'm Laura Temmie, and I'm joined by Joe Fawbush.
Happy holidays.
Hello, and Andy Leonetti.
Ho, ho, ho.
I really wanted one of you to do Happy New Year like Frosty the Snowman does when he comes to life. You remember that?
Yeah. I haven't watched it since yesterday.
I mean, I figured if any of us had watched it recently, it would probably be you, Joe.
Yeah.
All right. Before we go any further, then, we got to talk about it. Favorite Christmas movie, TV show, whatever thing to watch.
Yeah, I would say my top two are The Muppets Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life.
Ooh. It's a Wonderful Life never fails to make me cry at the end.
Oh, it's so good. One thing I will say, I made the horrific mistake last year at Christmas of watching that movie alone when I was in quarantine because I had COVID over Christmas.
Oh, no.
Don't do that, folks. Don't do that to yourself. It was, oh my gosh, I don't know what. And it was Omicron, so I was outside of my mind.
Oh.
And I was alone. I was away from my family because I didn't want to get anybody sick. And yeah, watching that movie by yourself in quarantine is not advisable, but it is a wonderful film.
You didn't know that you had so many friends and family and loved ones because at the moment you didn't.
right. Exactly. I was
were-
George Bailey at the beginning of the movie. He was about to jump off a bridge. Like, it was not good.
Oh, I just wish I'd never been born.
Hey, that was good. That's a great Jimmy Stewart. Nicely
your Jimmy
done.
Stewart is very good.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite?
I'm going in a completely opposite direction. But I think you two will be with me on National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh, yes. That is definitely in my top 5. Yeah.
Yeah. It's required viewing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Clark, if I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now. It's my favorite line.
And then the other one is I watched this with my 4-year-old son for the first time just over the weekend, and that's Elf, the great Will Ferrell movie. That's you leave feeling good about everything.
Home Alone is my favorite. It is the only one that I can legit watch every year and not ever be like, this is getting old. I need to take a year or two. I need to skip a year or two.
Yeah.
So that's the one. That's the one, Marv. That's the silver tuna.
Silver tuna.
And Bad Santa.
I've never
Bad
seen
Santa.
That.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh.
It's been a while, but it's a fun one.
It's the dark side of Christmas, and it's really funny and really mean, and there's a lot of cursing and making fun of children, and so
it's not the one that you're gonna bring to like the full family Christmas thing with all the nieces and nephews in my case. But it is.
No, it
is a good time.
We had my parents watch it one year, and they were appalled.
Well, now I'm intrigued. Now I'll put that on the list.
There you go. Well, actually, speaking of Clark Griswold, the first thing that I wanted to talk about today was if you're looking to compete with Clark for the number of Christmas lights on your house, you might want to pay attention to my story for today. I wanted to talk about Jeremy Morris, who's known as Idaho's Christmas lawyer, who I wrote about in 2019. We can link the blog I wrote about this guy a few years ago. But this is this story. This is sort of the ultimate of just going so over the top with Christmas decorations and lights and everything on your lawn and what can happen when you do that. Yeah. So the short version is way back in 2015, this attorney, Jeremy Morris, put more than 200,000 Christmas lights on his home.
Oh my God.
Despite warnings from his homeowners association that there would be consequences if he went through with his elaborate holiday plans. And part of this was because the year before, his family had, at their previous home, they had hosted a very elaborate, what basically turned into a block party. So before he was moving into this new community, the HOA was a bit concerned about the potential of a live camel and hundreds of visitors that were going to possibly be coming to this holiday.
Live camel?
A live camel.
Leave that to the churches, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Leave that to the churches, dude.
Hundreds of people, all kinds of stuff. And honestly, I won't lie to you. It sounds fun. But so before he even had moved into this new home, he's already in a dispute with the HOA. And this became I think 4-year legal battle, an Apple TV documentary that came out last year.
Oh my God.
Where he was demanding that the HOA de-annex his house, which of course they did not do. But interestingly, and ultimately he ended up suing the HOA.
It's almost like this guy likes to be the center of attention or something.
You know, here's the thing. I'm gonna put in a little personal opinion alert here. Personal opinion alert. In my opinion, Jeremy Morris is kind of a tool. I'm not going to begrudge him for wanting to have a big festive Christmas party or anything like that. But throughout this whole process, he has this look at me, I'm such a martyr attitude that personally I find off-putting. He's compared himself to the biblical story of the Jews who chose to face a furnace in Babylon instead of worshiping an idol.
Yep.
He moved his family into a neighborhood that already kind of resented them against his wife's wishes just because he thought on principle he should be allowed to do what he wants. And he puts his Christmas lights up in October. He's not my kind of dude. Yeah. However, he, like anyone else, has the right to try to protect what he deemed his religious practice. And that's exactly what he did. He sued for religious discrimination. And a jury actually did award them $75,000 in their suit against the HOA. But a judge later overturned that award because basically the letter that was at the center of all this, the judge looked at it and said, you know what? I don't think a reasonable person could read this and actually think that the HOA was trying to discriminate against them for being Christians. It seems more like
in Idaho, give me a break, man.
Right. It seems like more likely that they were trying to consider people in the neighborhood who were not Christian and how they would feel about this gigantic event happening in their neighborhood.
So what was the $75,000 for? Like, was it all punitive or like what?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
And so
yeah,
was it?
I don't know. I don't know for sure.
It was the lights and like basically like a live nativity.
Yeah, it was like a week long, basically, like a week long block party essentially, where they had carolers and cotton candy machines, hot chocolate, things like this. Like, yeah, a pretty big event. And I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna I'm not holding out any love for Jeremy Morris, but his story brings up interesting legal issues where like it's not unusual for an HOA to restrict things like holiday decorations. And actually, Andy, I found a blog that you wrote about this last year. Where what? Won't
somebody please think of the homeowners association board members before we get too mean here?
I'm not here to criticize HOAs. I'm just telling it like it is.
I am here to criticize HOAs.
That's fine
for sure.
Well, oh no, we all know that HOAs are annoying. But they have their rules, and you can certainly try to convince them to amend your rules if you can get enough of your neighbors behind the idea, which honestly is really something that Jeremy Morris could have considered, because from the beginning, he was coming in here ticking people off.
He was coming in hot,
and he came in really hot with this issue. And I think that if he had moved his family in and kind of eased everybody into the idea, he might have been able to get his neighbors on board and no one would have complained. But it was like he came in immediately
and just said, like, you can't tell me what to do.
Right. And, like, de-annex my house or else. And it's like, okay, then it's going to get a little wild.
Hi, Joe. Nice to meet you. You can't tell me what to do. What do you, what kind of person do you think I am if I say that to you when we're like meeting and shaking hands?
Well, I think you did say that when you met me.
No, I'm having deja vu actually. But no, actually, I was just thinking. I wonder if this guy's favorite Christmas movie is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and if it is, what does that say about me? Like, I'm having a little bit of a...
You're having a crisis over
Yeah.
there. Oh wow. I don't know. Well, and actually, I think in Christmas Vacation, isn't it something like 20,000 Christmas lights? So
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
this guy
way
took
less.
it up
Yeah.
tenfold. This is not messing around. And so yeah, just something to keep in mind. Even if you don't have an HOA, cities and counties typically have regulations regarding lights and traffic and noise and that kind of thing, and they might even have specific rules about holiday displays. So if your lights are disturbing people, or if a neighbor's lights are disturbing you,
HOAs are appalling.
Yes, I'm not disputing that, but you do have to deal with them.
They are a blight. They are a blight on this planet. You know how I avoid dealing with them, Christmas lawyer man? I don't live in one.
I mean, well, and I did learn recently that after the what he deemed a lackluster response to the documentary that came out last year, the Christmas lawyer has opted to move his family out of Idaho because I don't know, they're going to try to find something more Christmas friendly.
Moses is going back into the desert.
He said, you know what, I'm out, and that's it. So there is always that option if you can't do what you want to do where you currently live. If you have the means, you might have to give some things up.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of America is getting swallowed up by homeowners associations. However, there are plenty of homes available that are not part of HOAs, and
right.
just don't live in one, dude. Just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. Like.
Well, you would think that there's property available in Idaho that has a little bit more space and a little bit more freedom you could,
I would think.
Yeah.
But then it's going to take longer to get the camel there, so I don't know.
True. Yeah,
it's all a wash at that point. So that's my story and my little bit of holiday advice for people. I will say one last little tidbit I wanted to share about this is that in general, from what I've seen, courts usually err on the side of letting people have their holiday fun. So
Yeah, as they should.
So yeah, in a lot of cases, just talk to your neighbors and don't be a jerk about it.
Yeah.
And most of the time you'll be fine. If you're being relatively reasonable, it's not going to be a big issue for you.
I love Christmas lights. I do too. I drive around multiple.
yeah.
I do multiple drives every December.
Yeah.
That being said,
have fun with it.
If your house is gonna have the blinking stuff that's like synchronized to like Trans-Siberian Orchestra, like that you tune your radio to and all that stuff, and like they're gonna be able to see your house from space. That does mean that your neighbors can probably see it through their living room curtains. So just like, I don't know, bake them a crap load of cookies before you or
turn it all off at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Or, just be cool about it.
Or buy them off.
And it'll be
give
fine.
give your neighbors money for putting up with you.
Make them a pie. Buy them a nice bottle of wine. So whatever. Now I'm back on Christmas Vacation. Why is the carpet wet, Todd? I don't know.
I don't know, Margot.
All right, somebody else.
Oh yeah, don't be a Todd. That's the
don't be a Todd. As much as I love Julia Louis-Dreyfus, don't be Todd and Margot.
yeah.
Well, actually, I'm going to talk about a guy named ironically named in court documents, Mr. T. So he kind of sounds like a Todd, actually, a bit.
Does he? I have a question. Does he pity fools?
Well, he doesn't. He does pity fools now that he just scored a big victory in the highest court in France. So
all right.
So this is actually a different Mr. T, to be clear.
Oh man. Okay.
But it does. Another thorny subject that comes up every Christmas holiday season is the office party. A subject near and dear to Laura's heart because she has to plan them, and to Joe's heart because he doesn't like to go to them.
Because I avoid them like the plague. Yeah.
Joe is the Sasquatch of team outings. It's rumored that he has made appearances at them, but I've never seen him.
Yeah.
And it speaks to
it's an era of mystery. That's what I'm going for.
It speaks to also broader employment law concerns about employee participation in fun things.
I'm in trouble, listener. I'm in big trouble.
That maybe aren't necessarily work related, but they are work adjacent and hosted by work. But this story that has been going viral recently just immediately made me think of, the proverbial office Christmas party. And that is a man who referred to in court documents as Mr. T lost his job in France at a Paris-based consulting firm in 2015 for refusing to take part in work-related social events that his lawyers argued often descended into excessive alcoholism and quote promiscuity.
So is that kind of okay?
Yeah, he
kind of
argued that the quote fun culture in the company included quote humiliating and intrusive practices, including mock sexual acts, crude nicknames, and obliging him to share his bed with another employee during work function. This man was fired.
He was fired because he didn't want to. Okay.
He didn't. The company also claims that he was fired for a brittle and demotivating tone towards subordinates. That's what made me think of Todd, because I bet Todd Todd had a brittle and demotivating tone toward his subordinates. And I bet Todd also had an alleged inability to accept feedback and differing points of view.
I've experienced that in my career.
Well, yeah, because even though trees are like, corny and cliche, maybe we should have one. But then Todd's like, where are you going to find one? You know what I mean? So anyway, he was fired for allegedly failing to adhere to the firm's convivial values, according to the Washington Post. This man, Mr. T, just won a big victory at the French Court of Cassation, which is the country's highest civil court. They ruled that he was entitled to, quote, freedom of expression, and that refusing to participate in social activities was a, quote, fundamental freedom under labor and human rights laws, and not grounds for his dismissal.
I want to stand up and applaud.
That is all. Yeah. That is all well and good in France. However, in the U.S., in the U.S., where at-will employment is a thing,
yeah,
it is time to talk about whether you being a Grinch, Joe, could have professional consequences.
Oh no.
I'm going to tell on you, Joe. You didn't come to the party on Tuesday.
So, can your boss actually fire you if you don't go to the office Christmas party? So, Joe, your boss cannot make you go to an offsite work event like a Christmas party. Let's be clear here. In America,
this is true.
Your boss can't make you do that. However, Joe, you are an at-will employee here in the United States.
This is also true. Yes, this is also true
because you are not signed. The terms of your contract are your employment is at will, which means your boss can fire you for any legal reason, even no reason, including no reason. So. Joe,
don't get any ideas.
so Joe, your absence from the Christmas party means that your boss might infer that you have a bad attitude or that you're not a team player. And so if your boss is already disposed to fire you, that could be enough in most in most cases.
Fortunately, I am quite convivial. That is,
we are having a lot of fun at Joe's expense here, but he is indeed convivial.
I don't know, Joe. A tiger doesn't tell you it's a tiger.
I think Joe is awfully
I'm
convivial.
just kidding. We love Joe. We love Joe
is awfully
Fabush.
convivial.
If any of our higher ups are listening, we love Joe Fabush. Please don't fire him.
aw, thank you.
You do have you could, if you got fired for not going to an office Christmas party, you could claim. You could, if that you are maybe if you were a member of a protected class, and you can show that you skipped the party to avoid illegal discrimination, such as, say, if you were say you are, for example, Jewish and you don't want to go to the office party because it's not just a holiday party, it's a Christmas party, and there's a nativity scene and all this stuff, and you don't want to go for religious reasons. You're good. If you don't want to go, this is very, very apt in the Me Too era, probably, as Mr. T's company should have figured
It
out.
sounds like it, yeah.
Is that, say you don't want to go to a party because there's coworkers who are a little too inappropriate, and you don't go to avoid any more, say, sexual harassment, you're good. That all being said, Joe, I really wish you would give the office Christmas party a chance.
All right. Well, now I'm on air, so I don't think I have the ability to say no. So I will be at the next event. I will be at the next.
Oh, we trapped him.
And there is one coming up, and I promise I will be there. And you can yell at me and fire me on air if you're not there next time.
The next one's virtual, Joseph. Oh, whatever.
And for the opposite, we do have some blogs too on if you're hosting a party and you want it to go as well as the party that Laura just hosted. We have some advice on what to do and what not to do and how to avoid situations like Mr. T found himself in, and Most importantly, despite what I said about at-will employment here, if you are the type of boss to fire an employee for not going to the holiday party, you need to have a good long look in the mirror. And that's a whole
separate issue.
And get a grip. So let Joe be an introvert, okay?
You know who else is wildly misunderstood is Santa Claus. Can we talk about Santa Claus for a little bit?
I would love to talk about
Santa Claus. Santa.
Because I've been hearing that Santa might be a criminal. I mean, when you think about it, he enters people's homes without their knowledge.
True.
He flies around on a sleigh. Does he have authorization from the Federal Aviation?
Not only the FAA, but all sorts of air traffic regulating bodies across the world.
Yeah, I mean, he's a danger to the skies, really.
Has he put in his flight hours? Like, does he have a license?
Does he have a license? Yeah. And what about these elves working there? Like, how long are they working? Are they they paid? Somebody think about the elves, huh?
Well, who has jurisdiction over the North Pole Workshop? Is it the U.S.? Is it Russia? Is it Canada? Like, who owns the sliver? Who claims the sliver?
It depends on where it is.
Yeah, what an excellent question. And I think that the answer is that nobody. He's basically operating in international waters for all intents and purposes.
Good.
So he does not have any employment regulations. So those
Peter
elves
Thiel likes this.
Yeah. So those elves,
Santa, the ultimate libertarian.
Yeah. I hope they unionize at some point, these elves. But no, he does not violate any employment laws, despite how hard he works those. And there are, to be fair to Santa, there are no allegations that he mistreats or exploits his elf workers in any way. So,
True.
we have to be fair. We don't want to be mean to Santa. And as far as the trespassing charges, we've talked a lot about trespassers and invitees and that sort of thing. So I won't necessarily go into that again. If you want to hear more about it, listen to our last episode on running onto a football field, and I think there were a few others. So, but my point is, Santa, he does not break into homes. He goes down the chimney when possible and uses magic when that's not possible. But he never actually breaks into a home, and
he's also welcomed into those homes.
He's welcomed,
right? Right.
Yeah,
I
people
suppose
leave out
does
cookies.
the leaving of milk and cookies on a note equal an invitation into the home?
I think it does. I think it's a standing invitation, and I think that Santa is not trespassing. He's a welcome guest. He might be a polite guest because he is quiet because he doesn't want to wake up the kids, but that doesn't mean he's trespassing. That just means he's a polite, friendly neighbor. And then as far as Federal Aviation Act and, those guidelines, surprisingly, in 2020, the FAA, and this is legitimate, gave Santa special flight and launch permission.
They did?
They did, yes. And you may know this already. If you don't, this is super fun, and I definitely recommend doing it. But the North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD, tracks Santas on Christmas Eve. You can give them a call, and they'll tell you where Santa is, and you can see it on their website. So
that has always been my favorite use of government resources.
Yeah,
I have loved that for so long.
Along with ensuring that America is not under imminent nuclear attack, they are also tracking Santa.
Yep.
I love it. You gotta have fun at work, you gotta have fun.
Yeah, it's a cute story of how that started. But the federal government is well aware of Santa's activities, and they have given him a special flight and launch permissions, including to outer space, to bring gifts to our astronauts on the International Space Station.
That's nice.
Yep. So I just wanted to put in a good word for Santa. I wanted to make sure I am not on the naughty list, and thought we'd talk a little bit about some common misperceptions about whether Santa is really breaking any laws. I think he is not.
Now, if you do catch mom kissing Santa Claus, though, that could introduce a whole lot of family law implications, though.
This is true.
It could indeed.
This is true. Yeah. So, but those are not criminal.
No. That's right.
Santa can kiss.
Oh God.
And we'll just leave it at that. Maybe. Yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
With consent. That's it.
With consent.
With consent.
Yep. Happy Christmas, everybody. And that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Find Laws, Don't Judge Me. Please subscribe to, rate, and review our show wherever you listen to podcasts. Check the show notes for related content. And if you'd like to contact us, send us an email at findlawpodcasts@thomsonreuters.com.